Namaskar, good evening viewers. It's 9 p.m. and we are here with the prime time news bulletin, their news on Sansad TV. This is one bulletin that gives you 360-degree view of the top stories of the day from across the world. Let's start with the main headlines first. Air Force recruitment under AGNIPATH scheme to start from June 24. Maximum age of recruitment from 21 to 23 years for the year 2022. Defence Minister appeals to youth to join process. BJP forms 14-member campaign management committee for presidential election. Union Minister Gajendra Singh Shekhawat to be the convener. Opposition meeting to decide candidate on 21st June. Election Commission pitches for ban or fine on contesting from more than one seat or vacating constituencies and forcing bypoll. Direct tax collections grow 45%. Direct tax collections touch 3.39 lakh crore. Advanced tax collections in first quarter reach rupees 1.01 lakh crore. Torrential rains and heavy floods in northeastern states. Cherrapunji creates record, gets 971 millimeters of rain in a single day. And a quick look now at some more important stories of the day. India working to achieve land degradation neutrality, says Environment Minister Bhupendra Yadav. India committed to restoring 26 million hectares of degraded land by 2030. White House Indo-Pacific advisor Kurt Campbell says US will step up partnership with India to provide alternatives on security issues. India decrees in China's move to shield Abdul Rahman Makki from UNSC sanctions list, says there is overwhelming evidence against Makki. Reserve Bank of India says no to full stack digital only banks. Governor Shaktikant Das says they pose risks to banking system. 75 Indian beaches to be cleaned to commemorate Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Coastal cleanup to be carried out for 75 days from 3rd of July to 17th of September. Australian astronomers discovers fastest growing black hole of the last 9 billion years. Black hole consumes equivalent of 1 Earth every second. Maharashtra SSC result 2022 declared. 96.94% of students declared passed. Haryana board also declares class 10 board exam results. Of the 3.25 lakh students, 73.18% passed the exam. Prime Minister Modi to launch historic torch relay for the 44th Chess Olympiad on 19th June at Indira Gandhi Stadium in New Delhi. And England creates new ODI record, scores 498 runs for the loss of 4 wickets against the Netherlands. And now news in detail. The Indian Air Force will start its recruitment process under the AGNIPATH scheme from June 24th. Announcing this in a video message, Air Chief Marshal V.R. Chaudhary thanked the government for revising the upper age limit for recruitment to 23 years. The statement comes amid protests across 7 states against the new military recruitment scheme.
खुशी है कि पहली भर्ती के लिए उम्र की अपर एज लिमिट 23 साल कर दी गई है। इस चेंज से नौजवानों को फायदा होगा। मुझे भरोसा है कि युवा बड़ी संख्या में भर्ती के लिए अप्लाई करेंगे। वायुसेना की भर्ती प्रक्रिया 24 जून से आरंभ होगी।
The government has said Agniveers will be given priority in the recruitment of the Central Armed Police Forces and State Police. Addressing concerns of the youth opposing the Agnipath scheme, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh called the new scheme is a golden opportunity for the youth.
भविष्य को ध्यान में रखते हुए और उनके प्रति संवेदनशीलता दिखाते हुए प्रधानमंत्री जी के अनुमोदन पर सरकार ने फैसला किया है कि अग्निवीरों की भर्ती की आयु सीमा को इस बार बढ़ाकर 21 से 23 वर्ष कर दिया जाए। यह वन टाइम रिलैक्सेशन दिया गया है। इससे बहुत सारे नौजवानों को अग्निवीर बनने की पात्रता स्वतः मिल जाएगी।
Army Chief General Manoj Pandey has welcomed the government's decision to increase the age limit for army recruitment to 23 years in 2022. He called upon the youth to avail this opportunity to join the army as Agniveers.
अगली 2 दिन में ये अधिसूचना या नोटिफिकेशन joinindianarmy.nic.in पर ये घोषित किया जाएगा और उसके पश्चात हमारे आर्मी रिक्रूटमेंट ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं वो रजिस्ट्रेशन और रैली उसका शेड्यूल डिटेल में डिक्लेयर करेंगे। इन सब प्रक्रिया में हम ये सुनिश्चित करेंगे कि जितने भी युवा या जितने भी उम्मीदवार हैं उनको तैयारी के लिए और रजिस्ट्रेशन के लिए दोनों के लिए पर्याप्त समय दिया जाएगा।
Meanwhile, Railway Minister Ashwani Vaishnav has appealed to the students to exercise restraint and protect the railways as a national asset. Movement of over 200 trains has been affected due to the agitation against the Agnipath scheme. 35 trains were cancelled while 13 were terminated before their destination.
रेलवे आपकी संपत्ति है, राष्ट्र की संपत्ति है। इसको किसी भी तरीके से कोई नुकसान ना हो, ये हम सबकी जिम्मेदारी है। तो मेरा निवेदन है कि किसी भी तरह के वायलेंट प्रोटेस्ट न करें और रेलवे की संपत्ति को बिल्कुल भी नुकसान न करें। ये आपकी संपत्ति, आप ही की सेवा के लिए है।
Moving now, BJP has set up a 14-member coordination team for the presidential election. Union Minister Gajendra Singh Shekhawat is its convener. BJP General Secretary Vinod Tavade and C.T. Ravi will be the co-conveners. The team will coordinate with the state units and allies on the voting process. Some members of the team include General Secretary Tarun Chugh, Union Minister G. Kishan Reddy, Ashwani Vaishnav, Sarbanand Sonowal, Arjun Meghwal and Bharati Pawar. Opposition parties will be meeting on 21st June to decide their candidate for the presidential election. The meeting, chaired by NCP Chief Sharad Pawar, will be held at Parliament House. 17 parties are expected to attend. Implementing a 2-decade-old resolution, the Election Commission has pushed for amending the law to bar people from contesting from more than one seat. The Commission said that if this can't be done, then a heavy fine should be imposed on them. In 1996, the Representation of the People Act was amended to prevent people from contesting from more than 2 seats in an election. Before this, there was no limit on the number of seats for contesting elections. And moving now, Chemicals and Petrochemical Secretary Aarti Ahuja will be part of the committee to probe representations of officers dismissed from government service on charges of alleged incompetence or corruption. The Personnel Secretary on Friday reconstituted the 3-member committee. The CBI conducted searches at the house of Rajasthan Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot's brother, Agrasen Gehlot, in fertilizer scam case. The raids were conducted after a fresh case was registered. Enforcement Directorate conducted 10 searches in Delhi against Delhi Minister Satyendra Jain and his associates in a money laundering case. Satyendra Jain is in judicial custody at present. The Bombay High Court dismissed the petition of Maharashtra Minister Nawab Malik and former Home Minister Anil Deshmukh. Both had sought permission to vote in the MLC elections on 20th June. In the last 24 hours, 12,847 new cases of COVID were reported in the country. The national rate of recovery from COVID cases is 98.64%. The 14th summit of BRICS countries will be held digitally in Beijing on 23rd June. Chinese President Xi Jinping will preside over the summit. India's UPI and RuPay cards will soon be accepted in France. India's ambassador to France, Javed Ashraf, said that NPCI International and Lyra Network of France have signed a memorandum of understanding for this. And now let us take a look at some more stories from the world of business and economy. After 2 nights of intense negotiations, World Trade Organization members on Friday clinched a deal to curb harmful fishing subsidies and agreed for a temporary patent waiver for COVID-19 vaccines. Find more details of this deal in this report.
After a gap of 9 years, members of the WTO agreed to the fisheries subsidies agreement. The talks that started on 12th of June got over only early Friday.
I think the entire leadership present here has worked constructively we were at the forefront of finding solutions to issues that were dividing the world. And we are very confident that the progress made since yesterday evening, running right into discussions until 5:30 a.m. this morning, getting back on the table at 9 after a 2.5-hour break, and the positivity with which everybody is engaged truly is a matter of celebration for the world. I just hope I'm not speaking too soon. But India is convinced that this will turn out to be one of the most successful ministerials that the WTO has seen in a long time.
It was in 2013 at the Bali Ministerial Conference that WTO member countries signed the Trade Facilitation Agreement to promote seamless movement of goods across the global borders. The Fisheries Subsidies Agreement was under discussion for over 2 decades. It will eliminate subsidies on overfishing and illegal, unreported and unregulated fishing. The members also agreed to grant a temporary patent waiver for manufacturing COVID-19 vaccines for 5 years. Under this, a country would be able to issue a compulsory license to its domestic pharma firms to make that vaccine without taking approval from the original maker. The WTO finalized a proposal to not restrict supplies of food grains to the UN World Food Programme. However, these supplies would be subjected to domestic requirements. Piyush Goyal also said that India had not compromised on the issue of minimum support price procurement for farmers for public stock holding. Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal on Friday called the 12th Ministerial Conference of the World Trade Organization in Geneva a huge success. He said India achieved 100% success.
जब विश्व में कई चीजें 30 वर्षों में बदली हैं, उसको मद्देनजर रखते हुए और रेलेवेंट बनाना WTO को, कंटेम्पररी बनाना, आज के समय के अनुसार उसको बनाना, उसके बारे में रिफॉर्म एजेंडा ड्रॉ किया गया। और मैं समझता हूं ये WTO के लिए भी अच्छा है, विकासशील और कम विकास वाले देशों के लिए भी आगे चल के और अच्छा रहेगा।
Net direct tax collections till mid-June increased by 45% to over rupees 3.39 lakh crore on good advanced tax collections. The Income Tax Department said the share of corporate tax was rupees 1.7 lakh crore. More than rupees 1.67 lakh crore was collected as personal income tax, including securities transaction tax. The Central Board of Direct Taxes said direct tax collections for 2021-22 was 2,33,651. RBI Governor Shaktikant Das has dismissed allegations that RBI did not act at the right time on inflation. He said had the central bank focused on inflation management earlier, the consequences could have been disastrous. He said the central bank was taking steps keeping in the view the needs of economic transformation. Slipping into a short break here on the other side. In 2021, conflict, violence and natural disasters left the highest number of displaced children since the Second World War. All this and much more after this short break. You stay tuned to Sansad TV.
Sir, it's very interesting because most people look at my family as a political family. But I also happen to come from a family which is very, very sporty. That my grandfather, Sadhu Shinde, played cricket for India. My mother-in-law, Shashi Bhatt, played badminton for India. My sister, Neeta Patil, played kabaddi for India. And my son plays basketball for India and the state. So there are 4 different sports in my own family.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching the news and time now for all the main developments from the Russia-Ukraine war front. The European Commission has recommended Ukraine be formally named a candidate for joining the EU, a move that could open up a years-long path towards joining the bloc. Head of the EU's executive arm, Ursula von der Leyen, said that this is based on the understanding that good work has been done, but important work also remains to be done. Ukrainian President Zelensky said European Commission's decision to recommend European Union candidate status will help Kyiv in defeating Russia's invasion. He said it's the first step on the EU's membership path. He added that he expected EU government leaders to approve the proposal at their upcoming summit in Brussels next week. Attendees at the ongoing 25th St. Petersburg International Economic Forum called on the international community to adopt timely measures to tackle the global food insecurity. Russian Deputy Prime Minister Victoria Abramchenko said the large-scale sanctions the West imposed on Russia have further deteriorated the global food market. France has not received any natural gas from Russia via pipeline since June 15 after Russian energy giant Gazprom warned this week that it would sharply cut deliveries to Europe. Gazprom said that the supply reductions via the Nord Stream pipeline are the result of repair work, but EU officials believe Moscow is punishing allies of Ukraine. France gets around 17% of its gas from Russia through network connections with Germany. Russia's Foreign Minister Lavrov claims his country didn't invade Ukraine. He added Russia declared a special military operation because there was absolutely no other way of explaining to the West that dragging Ukraine into NATO was a criminal act. The governor of Ukraine's Luhansk region says the evacuation of 568 civilians sheltering in bunkers under Azot chemical plant in the embattled city of Severodonetsk is currently impossible due to the shelling and heavy fighting. He said in a Telegram post that there were 38 children among those taking shelter. And time now for some other global updates. Conflict, violence and other crises have left a record 36.5 million children displaced from their homes at the end of 2021. The UNICEF says that this is the highest number recorded since the Second World War. Here's the report.
Cascading crises around the globe have displaced a record number of children. Crisis hotspots include conflict zones like Afghanistan, Democratic Republic of the Congo or Yemen, Ukraine, and places impacted by climate change. The war in Ukraine alone has caused more than 2 million children to flee the country and displaced 3 million internally since February. Additionally, children and families are being driven from homes by extreme weather events like drought in the Horn of Africa and the Sahel and severe flooding in Bangladesh, India, and South Africa. There were 7.3 million new displacements of children due to natural disasters in 2021. The global refugee population has more than doubled in the last decade, with children making up almost half of the total. Over 3.9 million or 36% children live in sub-Saharan Africa, 2.6 million or 25% in Europe and Central Asia, and 1.4 million or 13% in the Middle East and North Africa. Only half of all refugee children are enrolled in primary school, while less than a quarter of refugee adolescents are in secondary school. Hundreds of thousands of unaccompanied or separated children are at heightened risk of trafficking, exploitation, violence, and abuse. Children account for 28% of trafficking victims globally. The UNICEF has called on governments to take 6 actions to achieve equal rights for all displaced children. It has asked them to provide support to all children, recognize their rights to protection, development, and participation, increase collective action to ensure access to essential services, protect displaced children from discrimination, end harmful border management practices, and empower displaced youth. Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
And more news now from across the world. Sri Lanka is awaiting official confirmation of a new loan facility from India. Energy Minister Kanchana Vijayasekera said an estimated $500 million line of credit from India will enable the supply of petrol and diesel in the country for the next 4 months. Sri Lanka's last consignment of diesel arrived on Thursday under a predetermined $700 million line of credit from India for the fuel. China on Friday launched its third aircraft carrier. It is the first such ship to be both designed and built entirely within the country. Equipped with the latest weaponry and aircraft launch technology, the ship's capabilities are thought to rival those of Western carriers. State media reports said that 003 new generation aircraft carrier is named Fujian. Germany's health minister on Friday urged residents and visitors to wear face masks indoors to protect themselves and others from the coronavirus. But he acknowledged that current data doesn't justify making mask use a legal requirement. An indoor mask mandate ended across Germany, with a requirement remaining for places such as hospitals and care homes. The Free Democratic Party, which is part of the country's governing coalition, is pressing for an end to COVID-19 measures. The British government has ordered the extradition of WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange to the United States for face-spying charges. WikiLeaks said that it would appeal Home Secretary Kriti Patel, who signed the extradition order on Friday. It follows a British court ruling in April that Assange would be sent to the US over WikiLeaks' publication of a huge trove of classified documents more than a decade ago. Thousands of Palestinians on Friday mourned 3 men who were shot dead by Israeli forces in the occupied West Bank town of Jenin. The military said the troops traded fire with militants. The Israeli military has been carrying out nearly daily raids in the occupied West Bank since a string of attacks earlier this year that killed 19 people in Israel. The military said it raided 2 locations in search of weapons. The European Space Agency's GI Observatory has released data that sheds new light on 2 billion objects in our Milky Way. Using mapping methods with high level of accuracy, scientists have unveiled interesting insights into stars and their ability to change shape. Let's take a look.
Launched in 2013, the European Space Agency's Gala mission has been mapping the Milky Way. It is releasing its most detailed survey yet, with the aim of understanding life cycles of the stars and the characteristics of other objects like asteroids. Thanks to the level of detail and accuracy being achieved, scientists have discovered that stars change in size, swelling and shrinking periodically while still retaining their shape and structure. Scientists are mapping the positions and transit times of stars to a sharper level of accuracy than before. This has become useful when using the parallax method to measure distances to nearby stars. The European Space Agency's Gala Observatory has released data that sheds new light on 2 billion objects in our Milky Way. Using mapping methods with a high level of accuracy, scientists have unveiled interesting insights into stars and their ability to change shape.
With Gaia and the satellite and the CCDs that we're using, we're going down to the 0.1% accuracy level on CCDs, and that is not usual. People usually stop at 1% level accuracy on CCDs. When you go down to the 0.1% level accuracy on CCDs, you start to see all kind of little problems and big problems, which we have been able to deal with quite accurately.
The parallax method compares the difference in direction of the star as seen from different positions of the Earth's orbit around the Sun, which is crucial for measuring stellar distances. It has uncovered a treasure trove of data, including fascinating insights like star quakes, that is their capacity to change size, and their chemistry. Scientists have also detected very tiny oscillations in stars that will greatly improve their understanding of the structure and origin of the stars through their shifts in brightness. The Gala mission hopes that these significant discoveries will help to shed light on how the Milky Way has evolved over billions of years. Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
And from the world of science to world of sports. In football, the 2026 FIFA World Cup will be held not in one but two different countries. The first ever World Cup co-hosted by 3 nations will be organized in Canada, Mexico and the United States. It will also see a record number of teams taking part, increasing by 16 from 32 to 48 as tournament returns to North America for the first time since the 1994 finals. Moving to tennis now, Daniil Medvedev has made it to the semi-finals of the Halle Open Grass Court Tournament. In the quarter-finals, playing against 7th seed Roberto Bautista Agut of Spain, Medvedev seemed to be in command throughout the match. Medvedev won the quarter-final in straight sets 6-2, 6-4. In badminton now, the lone surviving Indian in the Indonesia Open Super 1000 tournament, HS Prannoy has reached the semi-finals in the men's singles draw. Prannoy defeated Denmark's Rasmus Gamke in the quarter-finals today. Prannoy won the match in straight games 21-14, 21-12. In cricket now, ICC number 1 ranked T20I team India are taking on South Africa in the 4th match of the series in Rajkot this evening. India need to win the match today to keep the series alive. South Africa had won the first 2 matches of the series, while India won the 3rd match played at Visakhapatnam. Batting first in today's match, India have posted 169 for 6 wickets. Dinesh Karthik was the top scorer with 55 of 27 balls. Yashasvi Jaiswal hit 2nd century in the Ranji Trophy semi-final against Uttar Pradesh. In the match played at Bengaluru, Jaiswal, who scores an exact 100 in Mumbai's first innings, scored another ton in the second innings. Jaiswal scored 181 runs in the second innings. By the end of the day 4 of the match, Mumbai were 662 runs ahead of UP. Before we wrap, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Air Force recruitment under AGNIPATH scheme to start from June 24th. Maximum age of recruitment from 21 to 23 years for the year 2022. Defence Minister appeals to youth to join process. BJP forms 14-member campaign management committee for presidential election. Union Minister Gajendra Singh Shekhawat to be the convener. Opposition meeting to decide candidate on 21st June. Election Commission pitches for ban or fine on contesting from more than 1 seat or vacating constituencies and forcing bypoll. Direct tax collections grow 45%. Direct tax collections touch 3.39 lakh crore. Advanced tax collections in the first quarter reach rupees 1.01 lakh crore. Torrential rains and heavy floods in northeastern states. Cherrapunji creates record, gets 971 millimeters of rain in a single day. And that's all we have in this bulletin. To keep yourself updated, stay tuned to Sansad TV. Till then, goodbye, namaskar.